Hello, everyone. Today I'm talking about Wes Craven. Sadly, he passed away in 2015. He'd be sadly missed. He brought us Nightmare on Elm Street in the 80s, to be scared of your dreams. In and then he brought us Scream in the 1990s. Now, when the 1990s came, horror movies weren't really that good, and they weren't really that popular. But Wes Craven wanted to bring back something that would be a chain of things, like he did Nightmare on Elm Street. And he did. He brought out Scream, and it became a huge success. So in the 2000s, when the movie industry of horror movies was even going lower, and there weren't really many great horror movies out, he wanted to bring werewolves into play. Werewolves. So this movie is called Cursed. And he wanted to make it horrifying and scary. He wanted practical special effects with just a tinge of CGI. It cost $38 million to make. But the producers and all that wanted it to be PG. He wanted to be like Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream. He didn't want it to be the way it turned out. It took 2.5 years for this to get together, and then reshots, deleted scenes, taken out, and he did not like the project. Like, after it was all over, it took almost 3 years of his life, and he's like, oh my word, I have it, but I don't like the finished work, because it was more of a PG type movie, not a R movie that he originally wanted. And he didn't like it. He didn't like it at all. Now, he also had the same writer that wrote the first Scream movie. He wanted that person to come back and write it, and he directed this Cursed, but he had so many production issues, and they just didn't want it the way his vision was. Now, was the movie good? Well, in 2004, I went to see this movie. I went to see it in the theater, and for an afternoon film, there was people lined up outside because first come, first serve seating. They'd be talking to you. You'd be going in, and there was quite a few people in the afternoon. And this was a working day, a working week. Normally, you always know a movie's going to be really good if some people are skipping work and possibly skipping school to wait in the lineup to see a movie, but it wasn't that good. People walked out, and they were disappointed in it. Some people even said in line, get your money back. It's not a good movie. So when I watched it originally, the CGI was really bad. Like, that's what actually ruined the movie for me. I like the acting because one of the actors in here, he played Lex Luthor in Batman versus Superman. And he's a great actor, and he's been in many, many things. You'd easily recognize him. If you've seen Batman and Superman, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And then the woman that was in this, too, she's a great actress. Christine Ricca, if I'm pronouncing her right. She played Wednesday in the two Addams Family movies they made in the 90s. They never made a third, but they made two. She also was in Casper. And she was an amazing actress, and she was really good in this. Like, in general sense, the acting was good. And the storyline kind of reminded me a lot of Werewolf, a TV series that came out in the 1980s. So if you've ever seen the TV series in the 1980s called Werewolf, you should really check it out. I think you could find some episodes somewhere online. They're only a half-an-hour episodes, but the first pilot episode was about 2 hours. I don't want to tell you too much, but it kind of really reminded me of that, and that's really practical effects. And that's what this Cursed movie needed, practical effects. Was the dialogue good? Yes, but it just didn't have the scares that it needed. It needed to be R. So a year later, they came out with an underrated movie, uncut, Cursed. And the uncut Cursed was way better. I saw it on DVD. I picked it up. I watched it. I was like, oh, this is way better because there was more stuff in it that would scare you, but still a lot of cheesy CGI, because CGI back then wasn't 100% perfected yet. So they were just using it, and that really destroyed a lot of good horror movies that actually could be remade now. I think horror movies should always be practical effects. Now, when the Curse movie came out, it only got 16% Rotten Tomatoes and a 4 out of 10 on IMDb. And those numbers can always go up and down a little bit over the years, but the reviews for it are terrible. But people agree that the acting was good. Now, there's other actors in here. I'm not going to mention them. But Wes Craven did, he did like the uncut version better, but not much better. But he never got his vision that he really wanted for the movie. Now, personally, I give the uncut version a 7.5. I was only going to give it a 7, but it deserves a 7.5 because I got to know the characters more by watching the movie. Now I'm going to just give you a little rough thing. I don't want to say too much about it. So there's a brother and sister. The brother still goes to high school. The sister has a job and she picks him up all the time. The parents are away, so they have the whole house to themselves. So she picks him up. He's taken her back. They have a little bit of an argument. And all of a sudden, this wolf comes out of nowhere. This wolf comes out of nowhere, and they swerve, and they hit another car, and the car tumbles over. So now you have this person hanging upside down. Now, the sister runs down in the woods to see if she's okay. She realizes that she's hanging upside down. He calls 911 and they get there fairly quickly, but not quickly enough. He goes down and says they're coming. And all of a sudden, a wolf grabs her in the car and takes her, and both of them get scratched. So now, I'm not going to say too much more. But people don't believe what he saw because she didn't see exactly what he saw. So he was saying it was a wolf. The ambulance said that they haven't been around. But now, because of the scratch and him feeling a little differently and her feeling a little bit differently, and then you see more, you see another wolf attack. You see things happening. Who is the main wolf? What is truly going on? Is there an actual storyline to hear? Or does it wrap up nicely? Now, the dogs in this didn't like the wolves. When they were changing or something like that, the dogs would bark and growl at them. So I don't want to say too much more, but overall, it's worth checking out. Cursed, but the unrated version. But remember, it's the CGI that kind of ruins it. That's why I was only going to give it a 7, but a 7.5. It deserves that because the acting is well done. And there's a lot of good actors in here. All right, everyone, check out my movie reviews, food reviews, and much more. But remember, Wes Craven sadly passed away in 2015. Rest in peace, Wes Craven. You'd be sadly missed. And it's a shame he didn't get his vision. He got his vision for Nightmare on Elm Street. He brought back the horror gender for Scream in 1990s because it was kind of dying. He wanted to do the same thing with werewolves. Unfortunately, it just didn't fly. But he did like the uncut better, just like me. Bye for now. Have an incredible day. Check out my movie reviews, food reviews, and much more. And thank you again for watching. Bye for now, everyone.